Okay, so we were just talking about two very simple keys. One being timelines. Many people see a jail sentence. We see on TV 12 to 15 years. Oh, fuck, he got 15 years. 7 years to 6 months. 7 days to 6 months. At least 7 days. Minus time served, 4 days. Okay, so he serves 4 days.
Not time served. Good time
Good
credit.
time behavior.
Good time credit, which is a calculation that every sheriff in the state will apply to a local jail sentence. So a third of any determinate sentence will be adjusted off for good time.
And that's to anyone and everyone unless you become a dick in jail and cause trouble.
Right, you lose that good time. You're not a good inmate, so you lose the good time. Then,
But that's it. That you do your 4 days, right?
Right.
There's no way to go down on that.
well, no, it depends on the release date because sheriffs across the state will
We're in
not-
New York.
Right, in New York, will not release on Saturdays or Sundays or legal holidays. So they move back business days to the prior business day. So, as we talked about before, if a person is sentenced to 7 days on a Thursday, that 7 days becomes 4 days, and then that 4 days is shortened because of the no release on Sunday or Saturday, it becomes Friday. And depending on the time a person turns themselves in, if they elect to wait a little bit, that 1 day could even be 12 hours or so.
So if you check in at 6 p.m. Thursday, you can be out by 6, 7 a.m. Friday. Your 7-day sentence becomes a 12 to 13 hour sentence. Or you might be unlucky and you get sent in to report on a Monday morning. Now you're doing full 4 days.
Correct. And some judges understand how that works and will agree to a Thursday. Others
That's the other
don't
thing people
care.
don't understand, that the judges have no heart towards
No.
a criminal because
No,
they're
that's
criminals.
That's not true. Some judges are very conscious of that and will actually offer for a Thursday versus a Monday, a Tuesday, or a
What do you
Wednesday.
think would be a reason a judge would do that?
Equity, compassion, but on the same token, on a Friday, you'd actually do all 4 days because you'd get out on Monday. So it's all in the timing.
And that happens, what people don't understand, and some people who fight bail or whatever the case would be, sometimes judges do that because it's a nice person, they got into a bad situation by mistake, compared to somebody that does it and doesn't really give a crap, right?
Sure.
Now-
That's certainly a factor that plays
We're
into it.
talking about another one, which is people's assumptions. We assume a lot of things, like we assume that because I had 2, 3, 4 beers, I have 5, I'm going to say I had 3, I ate some food, I'm good to go. What do you think?
Well, with regard to driving while intoxicated and blood alcohol contents and those tests that a person has a number, and of course in New York 0.08% is the threshold limit, and when you see a number greater than that,
It's a 0.08 or 0.06 and they move it to 8 like a grace.
no, for driving while intoxicated, the threshold is 0.08 or more.
What's intoxicated compared to under the influence?
Impaired, it's 0.05 to 0.07.
Is it a chemical difference, alcohol, drugs, or
No,
something
no.
like that?
No, it's just the quantity that's tested in the person's system of alcohol. We're just talking
Oh, you still
alcohol.
get screwed, it's just a lesser level.
Well, there's significant differences between the two, but it's a difference.
Okay.
So an officer could charge 0.05 to 0.07 as impaired. Oftentimes they will skip that and still charge the intoxicated even if the result is lower than 0.08. But 0.08 or more would be an indication that the person has consumed a quantity of alcohol, whether it's, wine, liquor, beer, and a level that raises the blood alcohol content to greater than 0.08. And if a person shows up with like a 0.20 they're what they call aggravated because 0.18% is the threshold for aggravated.
Making it worse. Now you just
greater
went worse.
greater penalties, greater consequences. But the person who says, well, I had 4 beers and is in that 0.20 range, it doesn't necessarily add up because in order for, especially if they're drinking a larger quantity item like beer, where you've got 12 ounces minimum on average is what they usually use for calculation purposes, you either have really strong beer or you're misstating the number because for every drink you consume, your body immediately starts metabolizing the alcohol in your system. So it means that you have to keep adding alcohol to keep that number in a rising state because your body is...
It doesn't just stay there, stagnant.
No, it's not level.
It has a leakage and it's always going down.
It's either always going up or always going down because you're either adding the alcohol or you're not adding the alcohol and it's already coming down. So you'd have to keep consuming alcohol at a steady rate to keep the number going up. But oftentimes, as we said before we started recording, is that if you start adding like liquor, a 1 ounce shot onto the 12 ounces, now you're compounding. Basically, you've got 2 doses for that one period of time. So if you do like a shot and you're drinking a beer at the same time, you're sort of speeding up that value going up. Not the process, the value going up and staying and being at a higher level because you could do 4 shots of, say, vodka and you're going to be spiking versus if you take, because it just quantity-wise, time-wise, it takes more to drink 4 beers, so it's a more gradual increase than if you drink 4 shots, you're going to shoot up much higher quicker. And then the body starts processing and it's a slower curve, whereas it's more even gradual curve for like consuming beer because of the time it takes you to drink it, but also your body is starting to metabolize it at the same time over that period of time.
What about, like we had mentioned also, double jeopardy? A lot of people, before weed was legal in New York, a lot of people will argue, I was not selling anything. Why am I being charged with sale? All I did was share some weed with my friend. Well, and now I'm being charged twice for the same charge of drinking and driving or smoking and driving.
So, in New York, driving while intoxicated, it's not a well-written statute, but there's delineations between 1192 subdivision 2 and 1192 subdivision 3. When there's a test result, say that 0.20, you will see the 1192 charge, driving while intoxicated, and you will see 1192.3, driving while intoxicated. There's a distinction because one has a test result, the other one has those factors, those indicia that the officer will talk about: watery eyes, bloodshot eyes, slurred speech, poor motor coordination, odor of an alcoholic beverage, admissions of consuming alcohol, operating the vehicle. So they're not concerned about the test result. They're looking at, does it quack like a duck, does it walk like a duck, and therefore it must be a duck. So 2 theories, 2 charges, but they're directly related. They're incidental to each other, so penalties aren't double. It's just you could be convicted of one without the other.
We're going to get you with one if we don't get you with the other.
Exactly. So it's basically belts and suspenders. Double coverage, getting the conviction one way or the other. And sometimes...
a legal double jeopardy.
Not a legal double jeopardy.
It's not double jeopardy because it's 2 distinct crimes, right, but it's off of the same action.
Same action, and it's not duplicative where you could be convicted of one and not the, there could be confusion because they will often have testimony separate in terms of evidence to say I could get one without have a disposition of one of guilty without having a disposition of guilty on the other, because they could theoretically not prove one and prove the other.
Now, I am running late for work because we know that already, and this was a very impromptu thing because I love how you explain some things and you agreed to do this. I'm not putting your name on here or anything like that because of your privacy. One thing I do want to close with before I go is we also have talked about this in the past, which is recommendation to what to do when you get pulled over. In my point of view, as just an interpreter who is in the field working with them and cops and lawyers and everything, I would always say, doesn't matter your point of view and back the blue, don't back the blue, pull over, put your hands on the wheel, roll down your window, put your car in park, make the cop feel safe. It makes it go easier. You're not going to win a fight with the bouncer of the club. You're going to argue with the club owner. That's the judge, not the cop. If you want to fight them, they will come at you harder because that's all they have, strength and power and reinforcement. Unfortunately, I see a lot of the back the blue. They say, fuck them. I'm not pulling over. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. What do you, like, we were talking about judges, people having discretion, the DAs having discretion, because for the judge to be able to do that sentencing on a Thursday, the DA has to be approving that as well. Everybody has to be kind of like okay with what's going to happen, or I'm not going to even offer that deal to begin with.
For the most part, there is some cooperation that's required with regard to what we talked about.
And
before.
It's not like taking sides or anything. Everybody's always staying fair. But some considerations, do you think somebody who goes feisty from the get-go because this is my right, and we see them go to court, I want my due process. Well, shut up. Let me read you the charges. We can start the process.
As an anecdote, as an example, if you will, I had a client who, in a video, because all the police are wearing body-worn camera and for the most part implementing them, so you get to see what happened. Client spent about 45 minutes being the most obnoxious, argumentative, disrespectful, and when the jury saw even just a short period of that, I don't think they wanted to hear anything more or see anything more. I think they were just like, yeah, that looks drunk to me. So, oftentimes I find that when clients on the videos are respectful, are cooperative, and allow for attorneys to do the legal arguments as you sort of kind of characterized to the club owner versus the bouncer, i.e. being the police, is ability to have more success is often realized.
Fighting the cop doesn't get you the win at the end. Basically,
For the most part,
give more ammunition to your lawyer by just complying. You can refuse a search. I've refused a search in my car while getting out of my car. They asked me I'm going to put you in the back of my patrol car for my own safety. Go right ahead. Are you authorizing me to search? No. I'm going to bring the dogs. Go right ahead. I'm not giving you an authorization, but I'm not fighting you either. You do whatever the hell you need to do, because this is going to be dealt in court later. And guess what? It all got dismissed afterwards. So I was following a tractor too close that I wasn't following at all because he forgot about my video camera. See what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Thank you so much. Right. Dude, this is amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a great day, everyone.